Hello and welcome to my next video. I just want to run you through the ingredients that I've got together. I've got some broccoli florets and chopped leeks there, which I'm going to steam in a steamer basket. I've also got some chopped sweet potato, which is going to turn into sweet potato mash. I've got some mint and almond pesto, which I've taken out the freezer, and that's also got garlic, parsley, sage, lemon, olive oil and salt and pepper in there. And I've got some stir fry ingredients, which is going to go in the fry pan, which at the moment there's just got some olive oil in there. And I've also got some wild salmon. I tend to buy a big piece from Waitrose and then chop it up into portions and freeze it in bags. So that is how things are looking at the minute. I'll be back when I'm ready to start cooking. Okay, so I've just put the stir-fry veg into the pan with the olive oil, and I'm just moving that around. I've got that on quite a high heat at the moment, just to soften everything down, and I'll let that just do its thing for a minute. I also got out the cupboard some pine nuts, and I'm going to add those to this veg mixture as well at some stage. Probably when I add the salmon. I'm going to do the salmon in the same pan as the veg. Just to say, on the steamer, I've had the sweet potato steaming on its own for about 10 minutes, but then I lifted that and I put the leeks and broccoli florets in the lower steamer, so they cook from scratch while the sweet potato is finishing off. And I'm going to make the sweet potato mash when that's ready to go. I might actually add the pine nuts now. The salmon won't take very long to cook. Just to say, if you think that's a lot of food for one small woman to be eating at one meal, I am intending to keep a lot of it as leftovers. I just love leftovers, and why just do half a sweet potato when you might as well just cook a whole one and then have mash in the fridge. So that's what I'm doing, and sometimes I just have half of this piece of salmon, so I don't have to eat all of it. I've got a bowl standing by which has got some olive oil and white pepper and salt in for when I want to make the mash, when the sweet potato is ready. So I'm just going to jump ahead a little. I've made a kind of a gap in the centre of the pan with veg where I'm going to put the salmon, and I started off skin side down usually and then turn it over. I have been known to cook the salmon actually in the same pan as in the steamer pan with the veg. I'm not doing it today because it's less complicated when I've got two lots of things going on already with a steamer. So I'm just going to cook the salmon on each side briefly, and then I'm going to do what I've done in another recipe, which is to get hold of my handy lid and turn the heat down in the veg and salmon pan, and then kind of steam everything to cook. It won't take long at all for the salmon to cook. Meanwhile, I'm going to just check out the sweet potato, and then I'll run through the sweet potato mash in a sec. Okay, a couple of things. I've made sure that the salmon is turned face down in the pan to cook, to finish cooking, so that I can remove the skin at the end. Some people might not mind the skin, or they might want to crisp up the skin, but I'm not a salmon skin person, so I'm just going to remove that at the end. I'm going to put a lid over, having pushed everything to the middle from the sides of the pan, turned it down to probably 2, and that will take another, I don't know, 5 to 8 minutes, something like that, to finish cooking. Then sweet potatoes nearly ready, so I'm going to turn my attention to that. I'm going to just turn that steamer down, because the green veg will also be about ready as well, so I'm going to turn that down to about 1. So it's just ticking over. I just want to talk about, because I've got a handful of herbs again, parsley, coriander and rocket to chop on at the end. I just want to talk about how I store the herbs and rocket so that they last like practically all week from when John and Santa deliver them from timber. And what I do is I will take some kitchen paper and I'll wrap up the herbs in the kitchen paper and just make sure that's kind of rolled up in a thing like that. Same with the parsley and with the coriander, and just so that there's nothing actually visible, it's all completely wrapped up in kitchen paper. And I'll take some random plastic, which I try and reuse, and I'll just roll all of that up and put that in just an elastic band, keep it all together, and I'll put it in the fridge, and that's really going to keep for another couple of days. I mean, it's last Tuesday that was delivered and it's still really fresh. You've got to catch it quite soon after it's delivered or when you buy it, so that it's rolled up and the paper kind of becomes a bit damp, which seems to really help with keeping it fresh. So that I find really works well. So I'm going to come to the sweet potato mash now, and I'll take the sweet potato out of the pan off camera and then come back and show you how I'm going to do the mash, which I've got a bowl ready for. Now, I have been known to make mash using a hand blender and lots of butter, so it's sort of like creamed potatoes or creamed new potatoes, but the sweet potato here is quite well cooked, and I just want to mix it in with a fork to the olive oil and the white pepper and salt, and just until I've got rid of all of the solid bits of sweet potato, just mash all of that together. And no objections of course to using butter. I'm just having a bit of a break from butter because I can't butter all the time. I like to vary it with olive oil, so that's pretty much mashed up. As I say, I've got plenty there for leftovers, and same story with sweet potato as with ordinary potato. If you put it in the fridge to cool down, it forms this health-giving substance called butyrate, which is good for you. And again, I suggest you Google it and find that out a bit more about it. But that is the sweet potato mash done. Then coming to the salmon, I'm just going to show you how I, if I can, how I remove the skin. I just take a sharp knife, find an edge that looks like quite a good edge, and start peeling the skin back with a knife, and that comes off quite quickly. I won't go through the whole process. I'm just going to come back when I'm plating up. So see you in a sec. I just want to say that, of course, so when you're in your own kitchen and not in a restaurant, plating up is actually called putting food on a plate, because it sounds way too pretentious, plating up. But yeah, here I am. I've got my mash. I'm going to put a dollop. I think in Cornwall and Devon they're called a great big dollop of sweet potato mash on there. So there's, as I say, lots of leftovers. Then I've taken the skin off the salmon. Just gone for a spatula. I'm going to cut that salmon in half and just see how I go, because sometimes I like to have, again, a bit of protein with my leftovers. Just putting some of this lovely stir steamed veg on there. Just to say again, I only cook once a day, but I make lots. I've got some leftovers, and sometimes I'll keep today's leftovers for tomorrow and mix and match. But I like to have lots of food kind of ready to go in the fridge when I don't want to cook. So what comes next is this amazing mint and almond pesto, and I'm just going to dollop that on the salmon. I need some sort of a sloping thing, don't I, to show you the plate bit better. That might help a bit. So yeah, I'm just going to dollop some more pesto on the salmon because that is yummy. You don't need too much of it because it's quite strong. There's quite an intense herbiness about it. And then I'm going to chop on top some fresh rocket, coriander and parsley. Just take my kitchen scissors to this. It is, I love cooking with scissors, chopping things up like this. So that's that, and I've got a bit of my carpet of broccoli sprouts which I'm going to add. I don't think you can ever have too many greens on top of a meal. That's my theory anyway. That's all marvellous. Extra bit of lost parsley. And that is the finished product. And I hope you'll give it a go and enjoy it.